Argument's such a strong word, isn't it?
We were almost on the front lawn with picket signs that said, "We want the full Monty, we want the full Monty."
Well, Chip, that's the million-dollar question. If I knew the real answer to that question, we'd be a lot more successful.
Amarillo Little Theater stages 9 plays per season, 5 on its main stage and 4 in its adventure space. But just how are the titles selected? What considerations, artistic and economic, must be debated before the selections are made? And who does the deciding? Join us as we explore the art and science of picking plays and musicals in episode 1 of The Season. Even before the curtain fell on Hairspray, the final production of the 2015-16 season, Amarillo Little Theater had already selected and announced the 9 shows it would stage for its 90th anniversary season in 2016 and 17. The selection process began months ago, as staff and board members began weighing the pros and cons of plays and musicals that might fill its season. Artistic and Managing Director Alan Shankles told me the staff develops a large list of possibilities, which a play selection committee of the ALT Board of Directors begins reading in January. Then the staff makes its top recommendations.
And the committee looks that over and discusses and approves or disapproves of what we've decided, and sometimes make changes. And then we put that in front of the full board for a vote, and it's done.
We have our adventure space that the staff primarily looks at stuff that's a little edgier and a little more cutting edge that they look at, and they pick those shows. We do the main stage, and all that goes into that of what would be the best fit, let's say. What we're going to look at first and foremost, is it going to sell? That's the bottom line. Second of all, will it bring in new patrons? Because if you can get them in the door, we can get them in the door, we'll have them for life.
It's a complicated process.
The play selection can be intense because you're reading, everybody submits plays. You might have 30 plays, 40, 45, 50 musicals that you look at. We look at that. Is that going to work? Is that not going to work? Listen to that musical. Is that something we want to do? Is that something we don't want to do? And then you start paring that down. So yeah, it's intense, and it takes a lot of your time.
To read a play is very difficult and very time consuming. You have to take into consideration Alan's opinion, the general public's opinion, a particular play that we felt strongly about, but we were divided on the committee, how we were going to come to a resolution on what would be the best fit for Amarillo Little Theater.
And it doesn't always pay off.
It tanked. It tanked. We did about 45% with love letters. We actually thought that I might have some draw capability for the show, but obviously I had none because it was the worst attended show of the season. So there you have it.
I can tell you this, a show that I thought was going to be a blockbuster show because I loved it so much, a play called Getting Away with Murder. Great show, cast was incredible. We staged it well, but it just didn't draw like we thought it was.
Shankles, his staff, and his board don't always agree.
Sure, absolutely, we all push each other.
It's amusing and stupefying sometimes to see what people put on their list. Sunset Boulevard is one that's been on the list several times that lots of people like to put on the list. Starlight Express.
On roller skates.
On roller skates. They put things like Hamilton on the list when in reality it will be 15 years down the line before Hamilton sifts its way down to the community theater level. And I'm not sure we could even produce it if it ever does.
Argument's such a strong word, isn't it? Argument, disagreements, oh yeah.
But sometimes, even if it takes years, the arguments can pay off.
I had a lot of followers. We were almost on the front lawn with picket signs that said, "We want the full Monty, we want the full Monty." But every year it wasn't chosen, or we just didn't think we were making a difference. So those supporters and followers started falling off to the wayside, and I think I was the lone wolf that just kept sticking with it. And I had almost come to the conclusion that that ship had sailed. And I went to a board meeting and somebody said, "I think you're going to be very pleased," because I did not know what they had selected for the adventure space. And I thought, okay, well, sure enough, it happened. And I'll continue to fight for plays like that.
Overall, Shankles, his committee, and his staff strive for one thing in the season: balance.
Probably the number one goal for me is to try to create an artistically diverse and satisfying and gratifying season. But right along with that, what we need to be aware of is the economics of it, whether or not we're going to make any money doing it.
Panhandle PBS and The Season will follow Amarillo Little Theater throughout 2016 and 17. Up next, see what 9 plays and musicals the staff and board chose for the 90th anniversary season. The Season is brought to you in part with support from Park Central, Duncan & Boyd Jewelers, and Realty Central of Amarillo.